sides. We're going to cover the IPL. Started last night with an excellent win by Chennai, a one-wicket win, thanks largely to Dwayne Bravo, a marvellous innings. John, your thoughts on the IPL before we take a look at the teams?
Well, I think this IPL, according to reports that I've read, is going to be the closest ever, since most teams are more evenly balanced than previous years. They have added a few more things into the system this year, so to speak. The DRS, which has long been there in international cricket, is finally being embraced by the IPL, and in the 11th year they're finally getting to use it, so that'll be good. So your umpires, howlers will not be the final call. So that is one addition that they've made this year. The second, and which is a really new one, which is a really interesting one, is they're going to have mid-season transfers this year, which would be interesting because it kind of makes sense in soccer and the NBA and other sports, which seasons are a year long, but in a month and a half format, how would you transfer a player who's not played 5 matches to another team, and he'll be privy to change room strategies and share the new team? So I don't know how this is going to work, so that'll be an interesting one to see. But yeah, looking forward to it as always, so I'm really geared up for the IPL this year.
Yeah, I like the idea of DRS coming in, but I'm not sure about transfers like you say, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Going to have a look at the teams now, and I'm going to start off with Delhi Daredevils. What's your take on them?
Well, they've got a new captain, Gautam Gambhir. Gambhir, as you know, was previously captain of Kolkata Knight Riders, led them to trophies previously, I think on a couple of occasions if I remember clearly. So they'll have a new captain in him. I think they've really bolstered the team this year. If you look, Shreyas Iyer is a really hot prospect, so is Rishabh Pant. Jason Roy at the top of the order, should he play, would be really good. Prithvi Shaw, which is in the Under-19 World Cup, and the captain, he was on fire. So big loss over there is Kagiso Rabada, in red hot form, out with injury, so he's not going to be part of it. Trent Bolt would be the bowler that I would look forward in the team. He would have to spearhead the attack. They've got the Nepalese leg spinner Sandeep Lamchane, and everybody around the cricket world wants to see what he's about. The first player from an associate playing nation being picked up by an IPL team, so that'll be really interesting. They have Glenn Maxwell, so they got big hitters over there. Colin Munro at the top of the order, so Munro, Maxwell, Jason Roy, real big hitters. Dan Christian down the order can always shore up the end of the innings. So they've got a really good team this time. I've seen Chris Morris as the all-rounder if they play him, but the balance looks much better this year. And in a astute captain like Gambhir, I think this could be their best chance that they've ever had to lift the title. As like Royal Challengers Bangalore, they've always had decent teams, but I've always come short. This could be the year Gautam Gambhir actually makes a difference to the team.
Yeah, look, I saw Shaw in the Under-19 World Cup final. He was outstanding. He looks like a real talent for the future. And like you said with Maxwell there is a hitter, and looks like a good all-round squad. We're just going to move on now to, let's have a look at our next squad. Here is Kolkata Knight Riders. Now, I quite like them actually. I think with Nareen in the squad, and they've got bowlers, they've got hitters in Russell and Chris Lynn, and looks like a really good squad. I tip them to make the final actually.
Well, I like the team and the previous champions, but I don't highlight them favorably so much this time for 2 main reasons, I would say. Number one, loss of Mitchell Stark. Again, like Rabada, he would have been an important cog in the wheel. So him right at the outset losing would be a big blow. Secondly, I think as good as Nareen and the others were, I think Kolkata really gelled well because of their captain. Gautam Gambhir was a captain who believed in players, gave them a free rein. He took players like Kuldeep Yadav and he brought them out from nowhere and said, I'm backing you. I'm not sure of Dinesh Karthik as a captain for this team. He has led a state team before, but as a new captain of this team, I'm not so sure. And even though they have big hitters in Chris Lynn, Robin Uthappa at the top also, and they're a fairly decent team as always, they would definitely not be among my favourites this time. So while they have a good team, I'm not tipping them off for the playoffs this time.
Okay, we'll move ahead to where you're from, Bangalore.
Yeah, my city, perennial underachievers.
Yes.
Right, I mean, always the bridesmaid. Hopefully this time they'll go all the way through. I mean, as usual, the team is always top heavy in the batting, very strong. You have Kohli, De Villiers, run machines in this format. They've added a few new faces over here, and I think McCullum, Quinton de Kock coming would add more firepower to their batting. So I think their batting would be alright. It's bowling that has been concerned, and I believe they very categorically said that this time the auction they were looking to shore up their bowling, and it has shown they've picked up Tim Southee over here. They've got Washington Sundar, who's a good Indian off spinner. He played very well in the Nidas Trophy recently that got over, and he bowled pretty well. So he's been added over there. Mohammad Siraj comes in as another bowler to look out for. But I think they have Tim Southee's there, but I think Umesh Yadav, as good a test bowler as he is, I'm not sure in T20 fees, that good loss of Nathan Coulter will be a big blow for them. So while I would love them to win, and Yuvendra Chahal as a leg spinner is great. He's been doing awesome in this format. And while I would love them to win, I just think again Bangalore this time would fall short. I mean, they did add Chris Wokes also into the equation, but I just don't think that their bowling, even after showing them, is something that will give the other teams nightmares. It's pretty ordinary. My medium pace. There's no R&R express bowler. They have a good wrist spinner, but nothing to shout about. So again, I think the batting will deliver. I think bowling will let them down.
Yeah, they're going to be my tip. I just think their batting is strong. I do have question marks on their bowling. There's nothing that really stands out. I'm hoping their batting can get them home. Going to move on to the Rajasthan Royals. Now, Steve Smith is obviously missing the tournament. Ajinkya Rahane becomes the captain. What's your thoughts on them?
Well, this is a team I'm tipping to be one of the two finalists, and one of the two returning teams. I'm tipping them to be one of the finalists, and I think they have a very good chance. And I think with Ben Stokes, with Joss Butler, with the sensations in this year's BBL, Darcy Short and Geoffrey Archer in the ranks, I think they have that X factor about them, returning team. So and Ajinkya Rahane, though he's not a proven T20 captain, he's been captain of his Rajasthan Royals and previously. I think they'll do well, and even though a lot of names are unknown, Sanju Samson is there. For some reason, I have a very good feeling about this team, and I'm pipping them to be in the final, mainly for one more reason. The return of Shane Warne. And he's coaching this team.
Exactly.
So I think with his astute, his sharp brain, along with some real hot shots in Darcy Shaw, Geoffrey Archer, Joss Butler, and Maverick all-rounder Ben Stokes, I think this is a combination that could go all the way. So I think they'll do really well this year.
Yeah, well, Warne would love to be a captain, a winning IPL captain and a winning IPL coach. So we'll have a look if that comes about. Kings 11 Punjab. Chris Gale coming into their squad, and it looks like some good batting with Gale. Yuvraj Singh is still there, Aaron Finch. So we've got players that can certainly hit the ball a long way.
I'm very interested in this team this year, and more than ever, because most teams have batting captains. This team is captained by a bowler, and in a very astute bowler in Ravichandran Ashwin. He's a very smart bowler. We've seen it. So he's a thinking bowler, as we've seen in international cricket. So I think he's a good pick for captain over here, because they've had Yuvraj Singh as captain before. So they could have easily gone with him, or they could have gone with Aaron Finch, who's captained his national team. But they've gone with Ravichandran Ashwin, a bowler, and everybody knows in Indian cricket that he's one of the sharpest operators on the field. So I think it's really good that they went and picked him as a captain. I think he'll bring a lot of tactical acumen to this team. I think I'm very interested in this team, and I'm tipping them to make the playoffs. They've got some really good batting. KL Rahul at the top of the order. You've got Aaron Finch at the top of the order over there, and David Miller, the finisher. He will just explode towards the end. You have Manoj Tiwari, who's always steady. And of course, if they play the other explosive hitter and Chris Gale, imagine Aaron Finch and Chris Gale coming to you on both fronts. KL Rahul, one down. Yuvraj Singh and David Miller to finish it off. I think they're a very strong team. Bowling wise, Ravichandran Ashwin, right arm off spin. Akshay Patel, left arm off spin. Mohit Sharma used to play for Chennai Super Kings. Very good medium pacer, really good slow ball. So I think this is a very dynamic team this time, and more than ever, I think they have a very good chance. So I'm tipping them to be another team to make the playoffs.
Okay, so that's good. We'll move ahead. Let's have a look here. Where we got here the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, obviously they're missing David Warner, who's suspended, but led by Kane Williamson, the Kiwi. What's your thoughts on this team?
Well, first off, David Warner is a huge loss. Not only as the top player, and like a man among top 5 batsmen in the IPL, and he gives them the impetus that they really need at the top of the order. In a shorter format, with his aggression as a captain also, he's led them to the title 2 years ago. So he's a big loss, and Kane Williamson will have big boots to fill, not only as captain but as a batsman. I'm not so sure about Kane Williamson as a T20 player. I think a phenomenal test player and a more than handy one-day player. I'm not so sure as a T20 player, but being captain, he will have to play, and he will have to see how good he comes. Sunrisers Hyderabad has always prided themselves on their strength being their bowling, and as again, if you see the bowling is really strong. They've got Chris Jordan, the death over specialist. They've got Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, starts off very well with the new ball and finishes off well over there also. And they've got Shakib Al Hassan, left arm off spin, handy with the bat. Big Carlos Brathwaite comes into the equation if he's taken as one of the all-rounders. Handy medium pace, big hitter at the end. And of course, the talk of the IPL the last couple of years, Rashid Khan, in their bowling, the Afghan leg spinner. So he'll add variety. You have Shikhar Dhawan at the top of the order, explosive batsman. So the team looks pretty balanced. But I am just Mohammad Nabi is the other Afghan player who gives the all-round option, right arm off spin, handy middle order bat. So they're a very well balanced team, and if the bowling clicks as it does, I think they have a good chance. But I'm just a bit concerned about the batting, and more so as I speak, the loss of Warner in terms of captaincy. It would be interesting for me to see how they go. But if I were to pick them, I would not pick them among the favourites to go all the way.
I think missing Warner, who's made more IPL 50s than anyone else, and the only overseas batsman that's in the top 5 run scorers of all time. So it's just such a huge loss. I also can't have them in my final. I won't even have them in my finals, in the top 4. So let's move ahead to Mumbai Indians. Okay, this is the defending champions. They've won 3 of the last 5. Superb all-round squad. Your thoughts on them?
Well, Mumbai, as usual, will always be strong, and I expect them to make the playoffs just based on their pedigree, previous history, and being probably the richest franchise. They always get the top players, like Manchester United and now Manchester City.
Yes.
They'll always get the top players. So I expect them to be in the playoffs. You have Rohit Sharma right over there as captain and one of the leading players. So it'll be very important to see how he goes again this year. He's led them to titles before. So he's there. Kieran Pollard is there. They've added Pat Cummins, which is really interesting for me because he played for, if I remember correctly, Delhi Daredevils last year. Nothing much to write home about, but he comes into the thick of it this year. And I think Pat Cummins will have a huge role to play. He's in red-on form, so he'll be there. Jean-Paul Dumini, India star all-rounder, and Hardik Pandya will be there. So then your death over specialist in Jasprit Bumrah really bowled well for them. Really done well on the international scene. So I think they're a very well-balanced team, batting and bowling. They have, quite a lot of players. Evan Lewis, the West Indian, one down or opener, if I remember correctly, hard-hitting batsman. He has a lot to offer. So I think, as usual, overall, very balanced squad, and I expect them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I expect them to make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll win it this year. But they seem to be every second year, so this is their off year. So we'll move ahead. Let's see. We've got Dhoni.
Yeah.
One of your favourite players, isn't he? At Chennai. So they had a great win last night. And what's your thoughts on?
So they are the other returning team this year, both Rajasthan and Chennai Super Kings, after being out the last couple of seasons due to the controversy, make a return. And they made a grand return by upsetting the defending champions last night. So I think they'll again do well, and I'm pipping them to be the other finalists this year. So as usual, Dhoni is there, so inspirational captain, and he's got the usual suspects in the highest IPL scorer in Suresh Raina, his go-to man in Indian cricket and IPL cricket, Ravindra Jadeja. They've got, even though Faf would not be a key T20 player, it'll be interesting to see how he comes into the equation. Even as a captain, he can always help Dhoni out. So I think they're there. Obviously, Dwayne Bravo as their star all-rounder. Yes, he did it with the bat, but if you remember, Dwayne Bravo in the past few seasons is known as their finisher with the ball. His slow overs are something out of this world, and nobody can pick it even when they know it's coming. So I think Dwayne Bravo is another key player for them. I think Shane Watson moving from Bangalore now to Chennai could help them out. I think he's come off the rails a bit the last few years. He's not the potent force that we remember him with Rajasthan Royals. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I'm not too convinced about him anymore, but he could still surprise us. Ambati Rai, who played for Mumbai Indians previously, so he'll be steady and he'll always be there and thereabouts. But I think overall, a very balanced team, and just with Dhoni being there and their pedigree that they have been, I see them making the playoffs, and if I have to extend that one step further, I think they'll make it to the final. So that's my tip.
All right, okay. I think let's have a look if. Yep, that's the lot. So that's our take about the IPL. Really looking forward to this tournament. It's a long tournament, almost 2 months. So we're going to cover it as the tournament goes on. My tip is Royal Chargers Bangalore. John, finally your tip?
My tip is for the final. It's from the inaugural season. Chennai Super Kings versus Rajasthan Royals, and I believe history will repeat itself. Shane Warne, Ajinkya Rahane, Ben Stokes, and the Rajasthan Royals will lift the trophy.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. We'll take a look at our tips at the end of the tournament and we'll follow it throughout. That's it from Cricket Insights for today. Thanks for joining us and we'll see you soon.